Neat FM Neo.
Brand new.
The kind of banner.
Brand new.
The kind of banner.
Brand new.
The kind of banner.
Brand new.
Ready. The kind of banner.
Brand new.
The kind of banner.
Brand new.
The kind of banner.
Brand new.
Brand. The kind of banner.
Brand new. Bread ye wachina kunyao. Ishiraka neat etiefo na. Ozioma ADAKABRI oribo baby.
The kind of banner.
Yesi okwai karesio. Ene suo tware kwan panyin ne hwan a yebo kwan betu asuo ozioma ADAKABRI FRIMPONG MANSO wagina konya babiewu
Yamama tenasio na yamamu aha afinshiapa enso yefri neat 100.9 FM so ene se yeba manaso yi GBKB fue yamama finshiapo na mwaye bi ma chirese semu nim sikadi ma chirese semu ye bia Africa money GBKB fue yawa areshemu ta fidie abai bibia be koyie yabra mi ADAKABRI Mahmudu osioma na mabetena mu dia ma aye woman gada ai biamsi one esi ada biamsi ma renho wati ana ya so ba yare ya na ya papa me ofase
over
ba yare ya na tesan
I say been told that now
and can wa adwumam
an wa adwuma ne afrewo
say wo ba ho mfa
so when emergency bi akoda no kra ko school anopa wa
ne teacher fo afrewo
say you did not rush it emri be to me say I see you did not rush it call the nearby health facility it na say tumirika gidi winim de asi
about time so bro say enkanka single parent for no
here is a cry
ai boko nyina say bibi
what dream nyina until so be hu ba ne de won to
bibi so eni akire so a biamsi one
and just so to say aso hye nko
an just me call no one kakra because me dofo no de me pesa de rebe ho one day kra say de rebe ho one day kra biamsi one me frɛ wate ana me frɛ na me say see de na ye fever ye bia enti me say akoda na hwɛ na ma na me dofo na nyi afia yesi me de mo bia no e be so awre wo bia obia me na nyi ate ana obia me na nyi and it's in Shrankwa, sort of than a Hamilton. And the Shrankwa, the open a home for Pashako, a best point savings and loans.
Oh, that or new phone in the ball.
Ratty. Now, a your fence say, move was a lilac, a dear be a shadow on a panel, none necessary white. I would say, oh, them papa.
Macasano, yes, I'll move near your friend is saying, a move lemon green, no
lemon green in the mempe, as I make a move any lilac. Lemon green, be move any lilac. Oh, best point for my best point to me attractive mainstream. I had the or say star 227 hash.
That's all. Tell them. I said, no, your code. Code that you say, Ubetum, they are transactions.
Bank in down some
boko. I
bank in down some. I
just say, what will go now? Transaction be another
2 years ago, the Coco drew a year through. And Aquanya Bar said, now I was me upgrading.
Okay.
A free business class, eco first class. Almost in 150 pounds. 150 pounds in a jammy 2 because I me upgrading.
Yeah.
Was one yiska.
Hey.
Was it one yiska? Was it one means or the Bajiska? It not just was say, Ufo
now the year, on yiska.
Now, 150 pounds in 2 years ago.
Cashless.
Did there be any airport to pay Busomo? Opportunity for upgrade.
That's all.
80 that's just 150 pounds. Then a year, papa.
Ufo now there you be.
And the name can say on Nisika.
On Nisika.
Cashless economy.
And it is can I say bottom kufu.
There be a crumb.
Kufu now.
There be a crumb.
Is no man there.
And a crumb.
On a baby into wow ton be dear. Wow, Tom Kobe, maybe me call my me one me pe Kobe ba Kobe akwa ko one piece.
Na Kobe say na ni bonku na papa.
Za na me ni just okay.
Ri na ni bonku na ni bonku no. Kobe ni bonku.
No, wa ba. Any Kobe. Na wa call my me o mam Kobe ba ko na me say na usika me say fa mo bra me send mo. Say me dey me ni bi o me say mama say. Obia yebi ni cashless. Do ya shum na wa say na de ko. Nti emfa ho ni business a wo obi obu no wa bo fie o. Na me de bidi a me to share. Dabi. Ko bidi joint bi na wa tum say yeah, one bidi boutique.
Bidi boutique.
So that one packaging no cra fe keke.
Star 277 hash and now on the best point. Na you bank ne da wonsem. Savings and loans omo ye your friends so be can say omo ye check sa
oh yeah won so mo omo ye prema for
wonya duru ho so
da ya no ma ye bi no omo timi ye
manager na friend James Okra
yeah Mr.
and na Mr. Aiden marketing into just James Okra na say Aiden na say head office manager so friend Marjorie
okay
into wonya duru ho no ma ma de nyina so de mama part or just
okay that's good ono hwe ejuso
branch and mama na baby at na say come me so bia be ko obia nko ho ene je se mabọ ne ho ban wo adwoso no
ade kwan da ho a
wo betena we kuapim ni eti wo betena adwoso so ache wo ma kuapim biem
o zamo
wo betena adwoso so
kuapim fo ne ti omo enu ni ni yi o
de wo betena adwoso so ache eti otu bu anyankwasi oyine kese part no wo betena adwoso so ache Badaroma ya pass dam fama eye panyini kwadwo dam ya to se afimu nyina gina ne na so direct show ya nti akira sempia ototo ye adakabri ama biama beba biama ama adakabri beba omumienu bi ani woso amagere be gina mu wante se show no sofa any hardship bia afia so amia san aba na unse bronya ne de etimi twam to amfa obi bronya de ama na ma new year de ntwam
de de bia yedi
ayedi new year de ntwam Eduarda Roma ye panyini kwadwo dam ya do ono na production no san esire na so ayede akwa ayede aben na yam pass da so ma engineering group for no achuagbo na work akotia ko na jare na aboaje adasan kroman so de was sempro social media group no so no abna frema bankro ya be ba panyini asitiri wa ba panyini wono so wone na ya asafo abrantie fe atese wono de wonyansai were virgin papa were virgin ya asafo de were virgin were papa wono ana onde we focus e wona adwuma woye ya asafo nyame nhyiraw sa so ene ye de aseda so ma facilities group no big solo na unu say ne maame so eda ho no ma ye ba be na wotwe dane ya sa ba be ye no
big solo na nkasa na menim say eye we yo yaw
big solo na unu say solo ni nuane yaw and that girlfriend mu nyina your brother
okay it's not just
DJ Mapuna
eka na nti ana akoka hwene ne aso ni ade nyina aka
iti friends wo mo mutimi check say undesirable be facilities group no o mo na da wan say ade why I say kama what is infected them nyina am ye nti akira sem bia ye tena ase so betimi WhatsApp yen on 050
600
0909 050
600 0909
Anche na your friends masterpiece free London and you say what near kosu ya champion mo
one can go
I was any dini bi wa edo akosu ya say wa champion
a champion man penifo din tum say wa champion
say wa champion so no say emudu papa so say na say wa for na ya obi say so hwe the greatest Jabin Hima of all time. Jabin Sewa. Now on the D, Odi Hima, as I did Majano. And I minke Jabin Sewa Kakrancho.
Miti.
Because Jabin Sewa, the money you're great. Strong.
Yatibi, out the Albecano, so better.
I now I don't my way that I may slay. Da Sibre to Srebo, Jabin Mahine, a chairman of the council of state. That's brother Roma, we don't man permission, and Jabin Sewa Kakra. So, I say a year Jabia Kunyano. So, yeah. Na first Asante Jabin was. First Asante Jabin was, no. A year accusation be bad, Jabin near friend, no. Akosibuatin.
Okay.
Jabin Akosibuatin. And ye dear some tronos. It's none debt. Anya dia na nije ho so ho no enti enum na Kwasibu atin omu free asante na omu ba achimabu akwa so ho no omu ba achimabu akwa na time na sante hina na ho no na efre na osai akoto so ho no enti osai akoto ye dia asem no to dwabin na Kwasibu atin so no ana omu free dwabin the first dwabin asante was no and once dwabenfo no so no omo eya yokofo so hu no it technically nkieka oyuku piesie ade ananka dwaben so hu no enti ono nko aso na wonsai enkyere sante enti akwasibu aten de dom no eba ye no ena ombetena mu na fede de ekoko ba se sante hini kwaku duageman so hu no enu nti na omoto no dini opambo na dwaben se wa na ma ye di sa din opambo no to eye sante hini kwaku duageman no aha ye frɛ na ageman pambo no enti efrimu na kwasibu aten no ofrimu ikwasibu aten frimu no na ninua kofi buaten enso so ebedi akonwa no kofi buaten de wanche se besa de duanan pe etu ono ko ye na fe ne eye adehye mema na sa ewo dwaben tata so no omo wo eye achem ha sei enti e ba se kofi buaten ko ye no ene dwaben se wa na chese wo se ono odi akonwa no both e man ne mema de nyina so no enti na ye friend na masewa na masewa na chese dwaben be kan ma na dwaben sewa ni din pa na na masewa enti sa time no na kwakudua ageman ne ba ye no wa initiate say omo samra sante enti kwasibu ati ni free mu ma kofibu ati be free mu no afede de omo ba no bebe duru enti na dwaben sewa na lead team na mo ma back to asante ena obebe duru eye obo kwawu ha ya so hono eye kwawu ni fa hene nti obeduru obo no ena ode nkra ebre eye sante hene kwakudua ageman no said there be womu punish eye asante abrempon bi can you imagine sa abrempon pa maku enum yam punish womu asante ye eliminate womu asana dwaben asan back to asante oba basi o eno obeka asemu okan yen so no na chese kwakudua ageman no so open kabomu opese o strengthen asante nti no ena okan se womu nyeden womu emra so hono nti ampa omu eliminate sa abrempon ti no ena dwaben se wa ma ye didini ageman kwakudua ageman no your friend say ageman opambo tesa utum say major problem na obi free say ontimi resolve say dwaben ma amase wa dwaben se obeka say eliminate wa brempon
na chese safo na no susu say bia na wo mo atenso
so ahuno say omo ye no ma bi na nye
okay
ena ma dwaben se wa wo baaye dwaben se wa achiri no ana ode ne ba ohima afrakuma nti wo dwaben so afrakuma so afrakuma so ye strong dwaben pa so ahuno nti afrakuma no epenso no ana de ye afrakuma okokofra akwasibu atene ba wayine ba eye asafu agye atene bebe ye dwaben ne asafu agye de ye ya ono so wadi dwaben ko dwaben Asante Wars the second one no asafu agye meka acho afo na de mamfansi ya enti dwaben se wa eno ohima afrakuma omo ye strong papa na ohima afrakuma da chi ameka bibi akere wati ana dwaben afrakuma also hopa ekwi asrechi atefo dwaben kama no ntumwe nti ukodwaben so apanyini bi o ye friend panyini ko okra okwachi anoma me panyini ko okra okay ochi ahimfio opposite o ohima chama opposite panyini ko okra aha panyini ko okra akwa wo se se de oyema mi bia onye bi ma ati ana ache panyini ko okra se de oyema mi bia onye bi ma
okay
we boni bi o
we de so boni nim
se eye panyini ko okra no ADAKABRI ma mu
do se de ayema ni bia
se de oyema ni bia ye bi ma me we boni bi o
e de no hono baby sam so we sure
we sure
o be ya ma me na me tweme ho de ya
Dwaben do amu yo Dwaben history are very strong Dwaben history are very very strong omo na buy no mo chichiri new Dwaben no mo chichiri nkrom mako 20 nkrom mako 20 enti na ma say Asante no so ko ba bia na Asante flourish enti obuy no tim be chichiri nkrom mako na eye kofodua new Dwaben omo ati kro no from the scratch that's almost ati kro from scratch and eye kofodua ya ene yatitimi enti akwasibu aten ni kofibu aten ni dwaben se wa na ohima afrakuma kakra ho na maka akiro no fatu tiri wan
ya papa
na ka uswe
so
wa hire mechi awo
kuro mabakwasam yie
tutum se dwaben fo ne strong na ya na politically so no IB asafo agye ya no akai me
okay
ye kan IB asafo agye ya one hwan
okay
so no enti IB asafo agye ya fa tu trimu na akai me brepa mu no Metro IB asafo agye won to do ye ya wati dwabe anim
okay
Democrat dey ho no dia ne dey ho
krata no dey wo ma register is in there so obi a resume nti wo fa daily dispatcher in fact on the analysis as usual they about beto ha say MPP NDC why no betimi de ga dangbe ni aba be na running mate wabobo boso aya analysis no wa ha sei afa eya abato ahodo a ya toto ni nyina keka bom te wo fa eye daily dispatch na ya de a edem sei kama wa ha ono so ogusu a obisa saranso na wo fa eye inside the obokrata eno so yesi MPP youth bi wo mani abre chese wo mani abre Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia aso se wo mususu sa na inside kan se VIP a stranger in the party as MPP mebuni na kasa wa ha wo mo ehye ye press conference o enso mo te tokurum na mo kasa ye wo mo ye press conference
say oye hoho wo party num
ne say oye hoho wo party no mo wo mo statement no so eda ha no so insight abomoden afa publish wo mo statement ni nyina
na Paul Amantem
page 6
Paul Amantem no mo so waye dey
ansa Paul Amantem ne de ana yesi wo sen edikanfo
ana wo ma kan tintin sa
so wo ma aka wa ha che say wo mo statement no so de eda haboyi a walking kan mu a
okay
sama wo ma kwitwire gu ane de edi wunya wo man kasa na wo ma aba be
chire mu
okay ana ene nso ofa eye the new crusading guide eno nso abetodwa yesi de akuayo no ni ayate abanye release 1.10 billion Ghana cedis opepepe o ayede ba be hye kuayo mu ama kuayo atimagina na nan so eti agric minister boha wutumu se kratai kire release a eye aban no release ayede ba be boa eye kuayo na etimema kuayo nso etimi akonkan yie papa eno nso eda ha wo twa aban programs bi te se eye planting for food and jobs gomu nyina be benefit eye sat programs yi nyina be benefit ama eye kuayo nso etimi akoyie pa eno nso eda eye new crusading guide eda enimo eye the new crusading guide na ufa eye the anchor the obokrata no nso ne odi sembi ba betu anim ha ni nyina ne sen ene se eye adwumaku a ye from Nestle na Nestle company omo kire se wo mo products bi ewo adwaman so a expiry date ache no anchor ede de aba betu ha it is say no man ko gu shops mu na eche ye ene expiry date chi yo se eye den yo se every factory ko
ni nyina ne se unso omo products bebre lactogen ni SMA ni ade na
bebre
na omo kire se ebi ahyase ebobo apo na em se nhwehwemu bi hin ni free o eje se ya na se akoda akora no totofe wafo no wo de lactogen ni ema no a ebobo apo no etimi so omo word or doctor for net ya se me de minimo say coagulation so what me say moja no so tumi bobo apo ebi a wo de saa de ne ma kwada no a etimi han kwada no so technically no omo de milk ani nsuo na em say da be wo yire bi na sugar na em so omo de aye saa de no e no maka say eboa man kwada ye sei ma awofo na gie die edi nsin say no oba no ko be ma kwada na num no na ofiri say o de saa product na ma etimi pa bi asori free say and Nestle Food and Drugs Authority kwa a recall omo products ni bi na adenti na chese Nestle no ye kese nti no yentimi nka ne kese so no but there was information here widely available say established brand na yesi BBC aba ni nyina chese eye lactogen no ebi abobo apo e ma we bi so kra abobo apo e ma nkwada no so bi o wa de ma wo mo a affect nkwada no so no
eti we ne hwehwemu na ese wo mo ye ne yi
Abasentians Food and Drugs Authority are recalling certain batches.
Yes.
Recalling certain. But one would have thought that such an international organization.
Yeah.
A DNSA, na statement be na Nestle.
Yeah.
Where issue because it says Nestle to make a BB.
It can be the chair man for no. Because the consumer public and almost constituency no.
It was said Nestle no. It make a BB. Into anything a Nestle na can na say the paper ka.
For now, for now no. Because which my
because I was said a paper need to meet him. Said Nestle for no one. Oma can be na.
Because paper need there one more attribute to the Food and Drug Authority.
And
nti say Nestle for beka bibi ne die. I'm say encapture wa ha.
Nestle for can be. Here ma said Nestle for can be. Because we international organization of that sort. Our products no widely say used across the world. Na BB say and the Ghanaian Food and Drugs Authority can. Here ma said Nestle can be chere Ghana for. So I mean
because paper na can or say ade Nestle for na ya ne say wo Twitter handles bi a nipa bi e to ho na ya abel for tenta ho ma no so yes and na Nestle for a demand contacts of such persons.
It not just a Nestle nuntimi ma abonti PR department no and a PR consultants nuntimi ma abontene e me kan say this is the nature of complaint almost aka na steps a woman take say woman address situation no any now what exact any complaints are e bia yaba because coagulation na ye kan powder no SMA as one say lactogen no etimi bobo
okay what paper na kan wa o say a press release a wo site ye krata we ni site ye no say o say consumer experience with some evaporated milk said there is absolutely no food security issue in the matter. No, see statement na we Nestle for na.
So what's na hwe ni ye ma me
how dey interview ni we na a statement bi wa here say Nestle for na respond.
Ali Seidu, a political science lecturer at the University of Science and Tech and University of Ghana. Ye no ntwen komo kakra. Dr. Ali, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Until ye twi no kese wanya comfortable so betimi express no ho twi no enti ye be na kobrofo enti an one notice some of those things na e bi ade aba twi kase mo de amaye. Doc, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
We are also doing well. So, Doc, can you give us your perspective, the outline, performance of the MPP-led government going forward?
Performance?
Yeah, how do you view them in the years gone by, first year of the second tenure? What's your assessment of them? And going forward, what do you see going forward?
So, if you compare the first year of the second tenure of the MPP government, it is full of challenges. One, because of the outcome of last year's election and the current composition of our parliament. The executive and the legislature need to work together in a consensus-oriented manner to be able to get government bills, policies, intentions, projects, and programs passed from the House of Parliament so that it gains traction and implemented over time. You've seen that there are a lot of issues, starting with the dispute over the budget, disagreement over the budget, the e-levy, and other key government projects and programs that have gone to Parliament. It's kind of back and forth. And I think moving forward, a lot of consensus building has to take place so that members of the legislature can agree with members of the executive to be able to make sure that government intentions and policies that will be beneficial to the collective interests of Ghanaians see the light of the day and are implemented and get the support from all Ghanaians going forward. So I think that's my initial assessment.
Right. But then would you agree to any pundits' assessment of the government as dithering, that they appear to be dithering, not knowing whether they should go left or they should go right? Do you see anything of the sort?
There were symptoms of that assessment. And it has to do, like I mentioned earlier, the fact that governments in the fourth republic are always used to having majority in parliament and having their way with policies and intentions and programs. And this time, and because they usually have their way, it was very difficult for them to learn the habit of building consensus. Because if the minority are not happy, they just walk out and the majority will have their way. This time it's not like that. And government gets frustrated if their budget is rejected because the budget is the blueprint of what they are coming to do. If you do not have a budget, you don't have business being in government. There have been issues with the budget. It has been approved. There are still issues with appropriation. And the major source of funding for most of the programs, the e-levy, is in complete contention. And you saw the back and forth that happened. If this happens to any other government, you definitely be on your knees. And the knee-jerk reactions that may follow, if care is not taken, can be detrimental to our democracy. So I think a lot has to be done behind the scenes in terms of consultation, in terms of discussions, in terms of dialogue, in a more respectful manner, so that at the end of the day, compromises can be made, so that all the House, both the majority and the minority side, can support government policies and programs that they think will benefit the entire Ghanaian population, so that they'll be very comfortable with the fact that our policies and programs will see the light of the day.
Dr. Ali Seidu, further on the performance of the government, there's been instances political pundits would describe as two near misses. And the first of the two near misses was that on the 6th of January 2021, coming to the dawn of 2021, 7th January, the then President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's tenure would have elapsed, and we were awaiting the swearing in on the morning of the 7th of January at 10 a.m. Then on that night, on the eve of it, there was this, would say, fracas at the Chamber of Parliament, where soldiers even had to come in. Eventually, we elected Right Honorable Alban Sumani Kingsford Babin as Speaker, and that is the a near miss, because we needed to be sure Nana Addo had been sworn in as the president again. And then also the budget issue you referred to this time around, not just fracas, but then there was fisticuff. So the two near misses, how do you propose we deal with it to avert any third near miss that may not be a near miss, but maybe something else?
So first of all, like I mentioned earlier, this current parliament we've never had it in the history of our fourth republic. We are always used to majority, minority. Now we do not have majority and we do not have minority, even though we have a majority working group. That's the first difference in composition. The second is the fact that you refer to the 9th of the 7th, the eventual election of Right Honorable Alban Sumana Bagbin as the Speaker of Parliament has never happened, where we have a Speaker of Parliament coming from the other divide of the political party continuum, other than the government in power. So it also calls for a lot of retrospection. What can we do moving forward? Like I mentioned, this calls for cool hearts to prevail. It calls for a lot of reasonableness. It calls for a lot of consultation and dialogue. Because if this is not happening, you saw what happened on the 6th night. Military being deployed into the chamber of the House of Parliament. It has never happened. When we see military in those sense, it evokes things of coup d'etat, where they take over Parliament and suspend parliamentary businesses and govern by decree. This happened within the democratic tenure system. No one was hurt. No one was shot. We do not want this to happen again, because we do not know how that outcome will be. We may not be so successfully the way we were on the 6th of January last year. So I think cool heads has to prevail. Dialogue has to occur in a very mutual, respectful manner. Concessions have to be made so that compromises can be built, and then we can move forward as a democracy. Other than that, we may not know what will happen next.
Yene Dr. Ali Seidu of the University of Ghana and Etwetwe and Komo Ekakra afa aban the performance na fe ye busa no nsem bi so a aba obeka ne say ama aban ne wura fi adwuma e wo so ye come on. Dr. Ali Duseidu and Yalusu. Kakra no kan no saying.
Wafa, wo bisa no say aban assessment no. Ete saying no hu aban no on dey o say aban no hu no de yes executive no mampanyin ene na pamfo ene the legislature no wo mutimi kabom na wo mutimi eye adwuma yie na no na betimi aboa ama aban no de niso ade hunu bia ebetimi aboa ma Ghanafo yanya emfaso papa bi wo so no saa de no etimi akoyie na wo hwe eye said the obisa no say kwakwa say nipa bi hunu say aban no hunu left and right as said the no ma akọ ne titiriu pa e wo yemra hye bedwafie ho no abo aban no pusa na no e no say there be say yetimi eye bibi pa behind the scenes say yetimi ekọ ebu na empanyifo timi kasa because enkane no wo hwe said the yemra hye bedwafie ho ne te a enye nei sa ne ye ho no esakra bebre na abam esi de nkwa na yebonya eye speaker of parliament ono no ofri eye the other side yebenya eye dwamtireni yemra hye bedwafie ho ono no belonging to a opposition leader. Or say, I don't ban a son, a say, yet tenase. Na ye bisa ye ho, and sembi, na yet to me, who said, quine ben son ye befaso, na yet to me, ama, I drink cro, yakwa drink cromo, na a ye, Mrashebeja fono, any a bino, woman to me, atana ma cow boom, na woman to me, a boom, and the titular policies are, and she shall abide the go upon so, and who be Yamagana for a minute to me a concan, or say, ya dear. Ese yetimi hwe hoye papa na no pe ene betimi aboa na ama aban no wetimi atwoko the success story iti ye hwe no mo ba e beto aso.
Okay, iti yansa atimi ayansa raise Dr. Ali Duseidu back onto the line. Doc, we are sorry to have lost you. Thank you for coming back to us. Now, do you see the government as per the MPP? Okay, let me phrase the question again. Preamble. According to the MPP constitution, when they are in government, not less than 12 calendar months before they elect the next flag bearer. When they are outside of government, it has to be 24 months. So presently they are in government. So it has to be 11, 12 months before we go into government. Do you see jostling for the flag bearership as distracting the government now?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think there is a reason why the party's constitution states that when they are in government, they should hold the flag bearership election at least a year to the main election. Simply because most of the people who will be contesting for the positions to lead the party are likely going to be members of government, maybe cabinet ministers or just substantive ministers, or maybe holding board positions or contributing meaningfully to government business. If their focus is more on party, so winning elections and personal ambition, it affects government performance. And also, too, if they elect their flag bearer earlier, maybe 2 years before election, if they are in government, it means we're going to have two centers of power: the sitting president and then the flag bearer for next year's election or next 2 years' election. At that time, there will be more attention on the candidate than they will be on the president. So we tend to see power gravitating away from the president toward the flag bearer. And technically going to have two presidents in the system. So it is as a result of all these that the party constitution calls for calm and respect for laws and making sure that people don't pick earlier than they are supposed to, so that government business can be done. It is crucial because the person who is going to be elected to lead the party is going to campaign on the records of this government and President Kufuor's government. So if you do not contribute to a meaningful dispensation of the activities of this government, then which records are you going to use to campaign? So it is important that the party respect its constitution and actually make sure that they equitably and in a justiciable manner administer punitive measures to people who disobey the party's constitution and go ahead to campaign. We have seen some of them. They started very early. Others are very disciplined about it. Nothing has been done. Even where the laws are applied in some circumstances, they are quite discriminatory. It applies to one section of the competition, and then the other section are left off hook. This will not portend well for the future development and the unity that the party needs moving into 2024. So I think discipline has to be reinforced equitably, and people who flout these laws, regardless of which side of the campaign that they belong to, they should be disciplined. Other than that, they should allow everybody to do what they want to do.
So do you see an omission on the part of an officer, or do you see a deliberate, concrete plan to be biased?
Yeah, from the angle, and I think there've been a lot of incidents. I can remember in Tamale where a member of the communication team was sacked, and then a polling station coordinator, electoral area coordinator was also suspended. They were both suspended for allegedly